What's up, everyone? This is Shiny Rifle. I'm going to go through my Odd Eyes Pendulum deck profile for the first. Now, Odd Eyes to me is one of my favorite decks right now because the card is so versatile. It has Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, Pendulum, and even Pendulum Exceed. The card is amazing. It's so versatile and it's so good. He can go any route with the deck. He can play all the types of summons in the game. It's just a really amazing card. So let me go right into the deck profile right now for all of you. Alright now everyone. Now I'm going to go through the deck. Now let me start off. I'm going to explain every card as usual. First up, the MVP. Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. It cannot be an Odd Eyes Pendulum deck without Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Just saying. He has several effects. While he's on the field, if he attacks, he does double the damage, which is really good and very abusable. And then when he's in the Pendulum Zone, he's a Wobbuckle. He prevents you from taking damage with a Pendulum monster once for the turn. And in the end phase, if he's in the Pendulum Zone, you can send him to the extra deck to search for a card. Now, this card is really good at 3. I know you only need 2, but 3 is actually very good because he does a lot of work. He searches, he lets you take that less damage, and he helps you to go into your other extra deck cards. So he's almost necessary at 3. Next up, 3 Dragon Pit. This is a very important card because it helps you set up the scales. He's one of your own 8 scales. Other one being Skullcrab Joker, which is at 1, so he's very essential to the deck. And he also lets you pop back row by just discarding a Pendulum also. And to go with Dragon Pit, you have 1 Dragon Pulse Magician. You only need 1 because it's not really as good as Pit because his scale is 1. And now you only need any low scale work with the 8 scale because you'll be Pendulum summoning 7s more likely than 4s, but it's a monster removal, so it helps you get out of certain monsters that will lock you down. Example, Arc Lord Christia, or anything that prevents you from special summoning. Next up, Wisdom Eye Magician. Now this is a good card. What it does is you put it in the Pendulum scale with either a Performer Pal or a Magician monster, so you can work with any of these, or you can just work with himself or off. Now he'll set up the next scale for you, so if you have a low scale and the next low scale, he'll push up to high scale, just destroy himself. Or if you have a high scale and no low scales, you can destroy him and put in a low scale. Now more likely you'll want to go into off Dragon Magician. Reason being is that he'll be able to add back Wisdom as soon as he's in the Pendulum Zone, so you'll actually go +1 just by doing this. Also, if your opponent chooses to destroy the scales, you'll have a Wisdom, which is a key to getting your scales up next turn. So it's always good to combo into Oath and a Dragon Pit than Dragon Pit and Dragon Pulse. It's better this way. But mark you can only Pendulum summon 3 to 7, but it's not really a big deal because you're not playing any monsters lower than 3. So we have 3 Oath Magician playing with. Very good card. Next up, your Tudum. 2 Noble Dragon Magician. You only really need 1, but because it will shuffle itself into the deck, not even shuffle, it just goes at the bottom of the deck like a prick. You have to try to be more lenient with it by playing 2, because if you play 1, mark you, Joker is at 1, so it's not like you can search for it that easily, and the search cards normally you don't want to go into this, you want to go into your bigger plays because it's more efficient that way. If you need Noble Dragon, you'll have to search for it, which is an issue, so you play 2 to up the chance of drawing into it. It's not a big deal if you draw into it. You can always pitch it with Dragon Pit or Dragon Pulse and have a graveyard effect, so it can come back from the grave if it's there. Next up, 2 Yankee Magician. It's just backbone to the deck. 2/5 special summon for free, and then it negates light monsters. Light monsters in the game right now that are relevant are the Seraphs, the Monarchs. They have yugioh. You have the big Monarch, the 281. You can negate that as well. So it's really good against random light monsters you'll find around the place. Next up, your key card. No, this at 1, unfortunately. Skull Crab at Joko. Keyboard. And your last performer pal is Splash Mammoth. Now, Splash Mammoth is a really good card. The reason why it's so good is because Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon is out. Now, you can use this and other eyes for fusion summoning without using polymerization or this effect. But also, if you want, you can use Splash Mammoth effect, which is to fusion summon using it and a monster you control, which has to be odd eyes, unfortunately. There's no other way around it. It has to be odd eyes. Now, its Pendulum effect, which you most likely will not use, is to, if you fusion summon while it's on the field, it will special summon odd eyes from your extra deck. Now, this isn't bad, but it has a really low chance of activating at all. I'm going to show you a quick combo using some of the cards because people always reach in a situation like this. Let's just say I find my keyboard. Keyboard goes into Joko. Now, because I need to Pendulum summon 7, I add Dragon Pit. He's my only 8 scale in the deck. Now, the next thing you can do, if you have only 4s, it's a situation that happens a lot of time. You have only 4s left. What you can do is use Wisdom from your hand. Yeah, Wisdom monster effect that nobody activates. You can activate reduce keyboard scale to 1. So you can Pendulum summon your 3s and your 4s. And if you summon an Oath Dragon, you can also add back your Wisdom to use it again to get back your scale to 1 if you really need it. So it's a quick little combo and little education that a lot of people don't know about. Just letting you know, you can use Wisdom to put keyboard to 1 because it's his original scale. And last for the monster section, 3 Mist Valley Apex Avian key card. It negates for free. It negates cards that are already face up to. It negates cards and card effects. Broken. For the spells, 3 Sky Iris. Do not play less than 3. You need 3. You cannot play 2 because your opponent is playing 3 Twin Twister. And Sky Iris is a very essential card to help you with problem situations. A lot of times, like what I just showed you, you have to have keyboard in scale. And sometimes monkey board will be a negative situation because you won't let your Pendulum summon 4. Okay, and you won't be able to Synchro summon because you're level 3. So unfortunately, cannot be Pendulum summoned. Unless you have odd eyes, he can get you out of the situation. But you need something to destroy your own cards. And Iris does that, plus gives you a search. So it's very essential. And don't play 2 on a terraforming. That's a bad idea. Because mistake will stop it. And you leave yourself more vulnerable in terms of you only have 2 left and your opponent has ways to stop it and destroy it. So play 3, let them find more ways to destroy it. 3 Pendulum Call, it searches and it prevents your scales from being destroyed if they are magicians. So it's actually very broken. 3 Wavering Eyes, a card that should be banned in my eyes. It should be 100% be banned, or at least at 1. It's unfair. It's super broken. Next up, we have 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. There should be Twin Twisters. I just don't have my hands on any as yet. Raigeki and Rank Up Magic the 7-1. You don't play any draw cards in the deck, nor should you. There's no reason for you to play a single draw card, regardless of what it is. So, 7th one is actually a very good choice in the deck because the card I'm going into is C107, and it actually wins me the game every single time because the first effect on it, I just detach, my opponent cannot activate anything for the rest of the turn. And it's at 4/5, and if I tribute 2 monsters, attack 3 times. So it's already game it's attacking for. And I Pendulum someone back, and I'll slap them for game. It's an instant OTK, so it's very good. And last up we have the traps. Vanity's Emptiness, Bottomless, Torrential, and Solemn Warning. Now mark you, if I had the Solemn Brigade, which is 3 strike and 1 warning, I would play that over this, because it just get rid of so much stuff. Now onto the extra deck. For fusions, 2 Vortex Dragon, because most likely you'll fusion summon one, and then Absolute will summon another if you need it. Synchros, I play 1 Ancient Fairy, 1 Meteor Burst, 1 Star Eater. Now, I don't own Odd Eyes Fusion. If you do, you should bump this up to 2. You need 1 to actual Synchro summon and 1 to use with the Odd Eyes Fusion. Alright, Odd Eyes Fusion, what it does, you send Odd Eyes monsters from your extra deck. If your opponent control 2 or more monsters, and you fusion someone using it into Vortex. Now, because you only play 1 Meteor, you need to bump it up to 2, so you can actually have 1 to summon. So I just want everyone to have a clear understanding on that. And Star Eater is an out to Dark Destroyer. Next up, Exceeds, Cowboy, and next out to Destroyer. It's necessary because Destroyer actually is a problem for the deck because you don't play a lot of 3000 or things that can get over it quite easily. Dweller is just a very good card. Diamond Dial, necessary. Castell, 100% necessary. And for the rank 6, I'm playing Gauntlet Launcher. A lot of you play the it's not C39, Utopia Monster. Now, it's a very good card and it helps to push for game, but sometimes you just need to get the monsters outright off the field because they might be in defense or face down. So, this is just an instant out. Next up, 2 Absolute Dragon. You see our Odd Eyes Exceed. It's a Utopia that pulls back an Odd Eyes monster from your grave when you use its effect. Next up we have Rebellion. You can actually summon this card the good old fashioned way. All you need to do is have Absolute and Odd Eyes, and you use Yankee effect. Where is he? Yankee effect. Yankee effect will turn his rank into level, so he'll be level 7 instead of rank 7. Then he can exceed again. And this is an instant OTK if he gets its effect off, because it destroys all the opponent monsters that are level 7 and lower. Then it gains 3 attacks, so it's attacking for 9000 plus. When it destroys the monsters your opponent controls, it does 1000 for each, so it potentially can do up to 14,000 damage by itself. And last up, for the rank up magic, I have the 2 Galaxy. This one is not important because it will just overlay over it, but this one, as I previously said, it will attack 3 times and it stops your opponent from using cards for the rest of the turn. So that's it for the extra deck. Last up we have, well, before I go into that, I'm going to go into some little optional stuff that you could play. You could play Tuning Magician. It's a very good card, but the thing is to it, even though it's basically a bulb, glow bulb, but even though it's a good card like that, the problem with it is can't go into Natural Beast because it's dark and not earth, and the level 8 synchros aren't really supported by the deck. The deck really plays level 7s, so you'll have to find space to put in level 8 synchros, and then you have to put in this. Then to top it all off, it is not searchable. What's really killing me, it's not searchable, so you have to draw into it and get lucky with it. But if you, however, you'd like to play 3, you can play Crimson and Stardust. Why Stardust? Because Starlight Road is actually good again, considering Twin Twister, Wavering, Black Rose. There are a lot of cards now that are being played that will destroy scales. So this is actually good again. So that's an option you can play with. Next up, for the side deck, 3 Dark Smork. Now, Dark Smorg is actually really good because it just fits in perfectly, and then it prevents your opponent from setting cards. So if you go first against a Burn Abyss and summon this, they'll have to normal summon or something to kill you. Must. Next up, Great Shogun Shien. Good card on a whole. What it really does for me is help with the Pendulum matchup. Let them only use one scale for turn. And next turn, by next turn comes, I'll kill them. I'm just going to straight up OTK them. Dark Hole and the last Typhoon. As I said, I'll turn this to Twin Twister if I had. And then we have Soul Drain, because you barely play any graveyard effect cards. Eradicator, for any deck that plays spell heavy, trap heavy, any problematic stuff. 2 Horn of the Heaven, well, Grand Horn, for your any matchup that you think you need it for, a person who exceeds a lot, Pendulum, summons, anything. 3 Imperial, which is for your Cosmo matchup, because like all of these stuff don't really hit Cosmos. You need Imperial to keep them in check. And last 2 cards, 2 Deep Dark Trap Hole. Next one for the Cosmo matchup, and for Pendulum decks that special summons high level monsters. Example, a Mirror Match, where I know they're going to summon Odd Eyes and other stuff. I just get rid of all of them. Alright, thanks for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'm out.